Tower Fantasy is dead. I know it. You know it. Many of you know it. The devs themselves know it, which is why this announcement, this revelation from them is so interesting to me and to a lot of people. I was streaming earlier today when someone came in and they asked me, hey Stix, did you know Tower Fantasy is rebooting the game, creating an alternate version of it, making a Tower Fantasy 2? And I sat there and I'm like, wait, what? That's a thing? Why would they be doing that? What would that even look like? And I guess we're about to find out. I was linked to this thread over on Reddit titled Tower Fantasy is doing a large-scale game reboot, possibly a relaunch. On November 23rd, the official Bilibili page for Tower Fantasy made a post about remaking the game from the start. Tower Fantasy 2 ? And they also made a survey available for all players to gather player opinions about what players wanted to change. Having played an extensive amount of Tower Fantasy over the course of the last several months, I mean, I did a dedicated video of it after investing several months of my life into it. That went on to get 160,000 views. I can safely say what they need to do is remove that repetitious ball energy collection system, because that was atrocious and made me stop playing at 3.3. They need to make the waifus hotter. They need to enhance the good aspects of the story, which were noticeably better in 3.0 and 3.1, 3.2. They need to focus more on the side activities, the side content, because I think that's one of the aspects of the game where Tower Fantasy really shines. They need to continue hiring Genshin voice actors, because if 3.0 and onwards shows us anything, it is that they are much more talented than whoever they were hiring for 1.0 through 3.0. Let's go ahead and take a look at the official post from them on Bilibili, which was linked to in the thread. There's a survey there for any of you that are interested in letting them know what they need to change, what they need to implement or enhance or overhaul. Then there are some comments that we'll take a look at as well once we're done. Before we delve any deeper, I want to take a moment here to thank our incredible patrons over on Patreon. It will allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos on gacha games like this every single day. You guys are phenomenal. Now back to the video. The official page goes on to read, co-creation retrospective plan, and this was translated, by the way. It was originally in Chinese. This is now in English. Co-creation retrospective plan questionnaire collection to question the planning, understand the planning, go beyond planning. So they're looking to collect questions from players to hopefully understand what players want and implement them. Tower Fantasy is about to start again. We're going back and rebuilding the tower. I'm assuming the Tower of Fantasy. The co-creation retrospective plan will be officially launched from November 23rd, 2023 to December 7th, 2023. So I'm assuming this plan is the survey. And after December 7th, they're going to go ahead and collect all the information and then begin overhauling, begin recreating maybe something akin to Final Fantasy XIV. Because as you no doubt know, A Realm Reborn was a substantial improvement over the original 1.0 version of Final Fantasy XIV and was much better received. This might be the reception, or this might be the overhaul, the alteration that the game needs to be better received, as 3.0 was a marketable increase in terms of quality. Come fill in the questionnaire and give your bald head your bald headline. Like your, what is that? Like your list of the best bald creators, characters, streamers. I feel like would that list include like Asmon, Tectone? Like, I'm sorry. We look forward to passionate feedback from every pioneer. Jump directly to fill in the questionnaire. Boredom666 says that the plot is weak. There's a lack of character development. I can completely agree with that. I actually noted that earlier. And this Deepwater Torpedo says that we need to adjust the weapons. I also agree, because like 1.0 weapons, 2.0 weapons, they're entirely irrelevant when compared to the 3.0 weapons, and will no doubt be irrelevant when the 4.0 weapons release. Work Hard Xiao Huang says he wants this to be the equivalent of Final Fantasy XIV. Can you bring back the feeling of group fighting? So this person wants there to be more multiplayer aspects, to have it more multiplayer focused. And I completely agree. I love MMOs, and Tower of Fantasy, for all intents and purposes, is an MMO, and it really doesn't feel like it anymore. Flossy Losi says, if players even give feedback, will you listen? Because, and then he goes and lists reasons that he doesn't believe they will. And you know what? I'm not disagreeing with this sentiment. I strongly believe that they're going to, they have a goal in mind, and that's kind of what they're going to attempt to create anyway, despite what we think and what we want. Cousin Wang Ji says, in summary, the game is in an unhealthy operating mode, so an unhealthy state right now, but we don't know how to save it, which is very true, because I'm sure you guys are aware, recent numbers for the game put it very low. This graphic here puts earnings for this month for global on PC at $600,000, which is almost half of what last month made. Now that is disregarding China, that is disregarding mobile, but if earnings have halved on PC globally in the last month, then it's probably similar across the board. But that's what fans on the official Bilibili page have been saying. Let's see what Western players over on Reddit are saying. If the reboot is as huge as Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, I might give it a chance. The whole Gears score system is what made me drop it. Totally agree. Leveling your Gears score in Tower of Fantasy literally takes fucking months. It is horrible and grindy and just should not exist in the game. The PS5 release was so bad, I don't have faith in anything they do. PS5 has no crossplay either. I did a video on this, that's true. When they released it onto the PS5, they were like, you know what, let's enable no crossplay whatsoever and have people start from level 1 from scratch. Let's allow no crossplay functionality between players, so you can't play with your friends. It was a mess. I don't have high hopes for this, considering they can't even manage a proper console launch. Exactly. I don't believe they can do much. The company proved to be quite greedy, and that won't go anywhere. So in the end, the game will still have a lot of power creep and pay to win. Well, they need to make money somewhere, and suckers are gonna pay. The mobile version was so garbage I couldn't play it on a gaming phone. Learn to optimize before anything else. Evidently, Western players are not happy. They don't really expect much. Chinese players don't look like they expect much. Most players probably aren't expecting much, but I am very curious to see what happens with Tower Fantasy 2 and what they're gonna title it. I'm also curious what your thoughts are on this, so take a moment, let me know down in the comments. What do you think they should change? What do you think they should overhaul? What do you think they should fix? Now, if Tower Fantasy isn't a game you're interested in, though, absolutely no problem. I got you covered with 2 different videos on screen right now, and hopefully might be.